See, my biggest available resource was time. I had lots of it. No money, but tons of time. And I wasted it. I squandered it, threw it away recklessly. If I had a day open in my planner, and that happened a lot, then creating a podcast or a blog post would take me all day. No, maybe 2 days. Then another to get it all uploaded and published and get the creative done. Most times it was late, not being released at the time and on the date that I had it planned for. I was absolutely irresponsible with my time, like someone with a massive trust fund that just spends at will. But I could never get my time back. You're listening to the Unshackle Your Life podcast with Debbie Colburn, and each week we talk all things money, business, personal growth, and we dive deep, exploring the hundreds of things that shackle us unconsciously from our own true potential. And you'll discover tips and tactics to start unlocking your shackles and release an extraordinary life. Thanks for spending time with me today, and let's dive right in. My oh my, we are back diving into all things money, business, careers, and breaking through the hidden things that are holding each of us back. It's a restart, moving away from the shame and the anxiety, the fear, the self-sabotages, and the drama that we create in our own lives, leaning into the uncomfortable. And I'm right here beside you all the way, no matter what's going on in your life right now. Maybe you're in survival mode, just barely getting by, living day to day, paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're in a job or a career or a business that's leaving you on empty, depleted, uninspired, or anything in between. I've got your back. So make sure you have your favorite drink, you've got your earbuds in, you're nestled in some quiet spot. I heard the yeses. So buckle up, take a deep breath, join me in a conversation about jump-starting your life and breaking free of those shackles and create the life that you really want. Welcome to episode number 64. So if I know you, and I think I do, you've spent the better part of your working life, your adult life, working 9, 10, maybe 14 or more hours a day, working at least 5, probably 6 days, maybe even 7 days a week in an office. Maybe it even had a window. Maybe it was a coveted corner office. I had one of those too, in corporate. What we call the 60-hour work weeks. It was just expected of us. The only way to get ahead was to work more. A lot of nodding heads out there, right? To be a workaholic. And that promotion, that next salary increase, even your bonus depended on it. You had to prove you had it in you. Partner prospect? Let's not even get into the soul-sucking hours, the billable hours expected of you. Doctor, lawyer, accountant, architect, veterinarians. I'm always tempted to say Indian chief. And literally all the professions. Anything that requires some sort of higher education. And when you decided to start your own business, maybe test out that side hustle, that thinking came with you. You believed the lie, you have to work your ass off. And let's be honest, you've been trying. I know you have. I hear it all the time from my entrepreneur type friends. Maybe you even believed Gary Vaynerchuk, when he preached hustle. The long days is the only way to succeed. And he showed you day after day on YouTube how he hustled until he didn't. Putting everything you have into the business, your sweat equity, even your hard-earned savings. You tell your family it's just for a few years, but honestly, it's a really, really bad habit. A self-destructive one. Missing out on your kids or your grandkids' things that happen only once or twice in a lifetime. or placing more importance on what your boss wants than on what your life partner needs from you. And maybe you call it a sacrifice. That's a thing. But the big thing that you are blind to is that you are sacrificing your own personal health and wellness and that elusive business success, whatever success means to you. I did this too. I'm one of you. I carried the 60-hour work week badge as a badge of honor. Somehow that was supposed to make me look like a better business owner. People said, I don't know how you do it. And I was thinking, me neither, or why? But I just do. What would you really like the time you spend on your business to look like? Now notice, maybe you didn't, I said on your business, not in your business. That is a question that you must ask yourself, every single one of you listening, and answer honestly. Dive deep into to describe your perfect business in vivid, eye-catching David Attenborough color. In detail, your dream life, your rich life. See it, feel it, live it. I wrote this. I wake up at 5:30 every morning, and in the first 90 minutes of the day, every day is mine. Meditation, journaling, personal development, exercise. Then at 7, my partner joins me on the terrace outside overlooking the mountains. And then there's a dog walk in the mountains. Nature is my rocket fuel. My work starts at 8:30 and I only work 25 hours a week. Never on a Friday. That's my day off. I take off at least 12 weeks a year. And my business grosses $4,788,000 US dollars a year with an EBITDA of 50%. Yeah, the former professional accountant always pops her head in just to keep me on track. And you're thinking, that is so not possible. What you're really telling yourself is, the only way you could hit those targets is with 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, work weeks. No vacations, no plan for vacations, period. End of discussion. And I'm sharing that you are using corporate thinking you were programmed with. You didn't even realize you were being programmed that way. But you are. You are not thinking like a successful business owner, an entrepreneur for the long term with long-term success. I was programmed that way too. And I tried to build my first real business, actually 2 of them that way, and it damn near killed me. And you hear me say a lot, sometimes I'm a slow learner because it damn near killed me in the first kick at entrepreneurship with my corporate consulting business too, where I was spending my days in the corporate world. I never got to use my unique ability. I was so busy doing everything else. And whether you are self-funded like I was, or relying on a hybrid of savings and bank funding, sweat equity is not really equity. It is a liability with a capital L. Just like the bills you owe and the loans you have, it has a cost, and it has to be paid somehow, some way. You are the brains behind your business. You're the vision, you're the creative, the idea generator, maybe you're the strategist. That's your only job. When you try to be everything, there is no business. And there is definitely no growth or scalability. You're in survival mode every single day, 365 days a year. Sure, there are times you have to do some of the mundane things, But if the cost is your time, no one is winning. If you're working on $10 and $25 jobs when you should be working on getting clients, finding new prospects, getting the ideas, you're digging your own grave and the businesses fast. For so many of us who are, well, let's just call it multi-talented. Some people call it multi-passionate, but I like it multi-talented better. Who can do many things pretty well, really well, very good. It is so easy to get sucked into just doing them. And then each time it needs to be done, there we are doing it again. And sometimes it's because of money. Sometimes as a distraction. Sometimes because we are scared to do what we know we should be doing. We resist it either because at a high level, when we dig, peel all those onion skins back and we get down to the core of it, we are resisting facing our fear of failure or a fear of success. So we simply just don't do it. But through some magic illusion, we seem to think that we have all the time and energy to do that other shit. Mine was and is fear of success. If you've listened to episode 1 and some of the earlier on episodes, you know my story. You've heard all the little bits. And it's something I have to work through every single time. I feel myself resist. I go off and do other things, but each time it gets a tiny bit easier. There's a little less resistance. There's definitely resistance there, and believe me, sometimes it's massive. But each time I build more trust in me. I'm not the same person I was when I hit rock bottom. I'm so not that person. And I know why I'm not that person anymore. Some of us even decide that we're not really in love with the first business we start. So I know a lot of my audience are on second businesses. You're not a beginner. And that was my story throughout the lifetime of the Summit, my 7,000 square foot training facility for performance dog sports. A business that was created as a rental facility so that revenue generation wasn't solely dependent on me trading hours for dollars. Well, at least I got that right, sort of. Whether it was teetering on a 17-foot metal ladder with soaking wet mitts and frozen hands in the bitter cold Canadian winter, chopping ice off the metal roof so the leaking would stop inside, or dragging the drag brush over the AstroTurf to clean it, or cleaning the bathrooms, or updating the online reservation schedule, or mowing the grass, trimming the trees, or picking up the presenters from the airport. I felt I had to do it all myself. When someone asked, "Can I help?" I almost always said, "No thanks, I've got this." And no, I know a lot of you are thinking, yeah, it's because she's a type A personality, she's a control freak. I am not a control freak. I would love someone to take any of these jobs and just run with it. Read the steps and guidelines, hit the objective, how they get there. That's up to them. In fact, in my corporate life, I was always criticized for the fact that when I had someone working with me that had a project, I would give them the guidelines. I would give them what the end result was that they were needed. They would be equipped with all the tools. I would say, "I'm up here if you have any questions." And they knew the deadline. And then I'd check up with them, sort of 3/4 of the way through, and I'd be shocked that they would be so far behind. And I was criticized because I didn't micromanage them. But that's not my job. So I'm not a control freak. I'm an anti-control freak. I trust and I hope that people are self-starters like me. And I was frequently disappointed. You might relate to this, but that had everything to do with the fact that I wasn't hiring the people who were working with me. So they were out of sync. Anyway, I let me get back to the topic. I brought that same work ethic into the evolution of the business when I moved it into the online space. Except now, there was no one to ask if I needed help. So I just did it. And there was no one to call me on it since I was working by myself in my home. And I hadn't yet stepped into the level of coaching and masterminds that I so needed. And I resented every minute that I spent on things that weren't what we would call the best use of my time. Now don't get me wrong, I'm one of those people, and I know there are some of you out there too. You're one of my mentors, Brendan Burchard. He is the same way. It's how I've gotten where I am, know what I do, that needs, I need to do something once so I understand how it works, and then I can pass it on to someone else. 80% of what I know how to do is from being a self-taught learner with good coaches and mentors. So I love the first and second time through anything. Then after that, it's mundane, boring, time waster, routine, repetitive. In Gino Wickman terms, he's the author of, and a co-author in one of them, of Rocket Fuel, of two books, Rocket Fuel and Traction. And both of those books are must-read books for any entrepreneur, any business owner. I'm a visionary, and so not an integrator, despite what you would think with my professional background. Now here's the thing. You know someone else should be doing the thing that you're doing right now. We all know it. But I hear almost every business owner say, but I can do it quicker. I don't have the time or the patience to write out exactly what I do. Then I still have to check it and watch over them a few times. Yeah, some of that is true. But what is that costing your business in the long term? Be honest. I figure it's probably cost me at least $250,000 in gross revenues in 1 year. At least. Probably more. Almost for sure more. Delayed launches, drop services, missed opportunities, lost connections, you name it. Because I was lazy. And I don't consider myself a lazy person. A whole lot of fear that it might all really work for me. I feel that statement right here in the upper part of my chest. A whole lot of fear that if I really put my heart into it, if I do the things that I'm really supposed to be doing and get other people to help me, this might all really, really work for me. And I was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, until I couldn't anymore. I was right back exactly where I started, what I was trying to get away from. And I started creating the systems for my online business 1 year in. That was a turning point. That was a milestone for me. And I contracted my first VA, virtual assistant, a year after that. Take that in for just a minute. Started creating the systems for my online business, and we're not talking about rocket science here, literally just documenting step by step what I did in each thing. And then it took me an entire year to hire my first VA. And she was $4 US an hour out of the Philippines. And I'll give you that link afterwards. Lifesaver. It took me a whole year to do something that actually took me about 45 minutes, and it took 2 days off my plate every single month. Can you imagine that? But that is so common. Work less, earn more. Writing that is so obvious how ridiculous the whole scenario was. But that's so common in the world of entrepreneurship. You know, whether it's your first business, you know, and it's worse when you're in your second business and you're still doing that. And I know, like I said, a lot of you are there. And then what happens is we decide things aren't working. You know, I'm not in love with this. We decide to pivot. It's such a strange term, given that it actually doesn't mean anything in business. Really. You can change the direction of your business all the way from 1% all the way to 301 degree, all the way to 359 degrees. It's still a pivot. Pivot means nothing. Literally, what you're doing is just choosing a different path. Yet on any path that you choose, if you bring that corporate thinking with you, you will bog down again. You'll get stuck in the mundane. You'll waste time. You'll earn less. You'll miss out on helping someone who needs your help right now. Not next year, not 2 years from now, not even 3 months from now. They need your help right now. You're missing out on sharing the very best of you, your ideas, the thing that makes your vision sing and sparkle. The thing that makes people want to join your vision and share it with you. That's why many of these not-for-profits take off. Because they hit people right at the right time. And when you hit someone at the right time, and I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but when you connect with them at the right time, and they have a transformation, they're going to tell people. That's how your businesses explode. You need to help your inner self understand and appreciate the value of working less to earn more. Working on the right things. Building the very best team for you, whether it's a team that lives and works where you do, or a virtual one, or a hybrid. And getting rid of the guilt of not working. So, you know, we're familiar with the term mom guilt. You know, working when you feel like you should be with your kids. Well, there's such a thing as entrepreneur guilt. That guilt when you're not working on your business, thinking I should be working on my business. No, you shouldn't. Your downtime is the thing that builds a strong, healthy, vibrant business. My perfect business is an integrator that is both live, so I can connect with them live, and also works virtually. A small support team of virtual contractors, 5 of them, and me. That's it. I had no desire or mental bandwidth for a big team, and I definitely don't want a permanent office. No, not a chance. Working on the most profitable projects, the ones that speak to you, your vision, and to the big wants of your ideal client, and the need that they don't even realize that they need. And I hope you know who that is. That's probably the hardest thing in business, is figuring out who your ideal client is right now and then just keep finessing it. It's like, imagine it's a piece of pottery and you just keep shaping it and shaping it and shaping it and shaping it. And even after it's finished and glazed, you can actually take it apart and reshape it into something else. Your ideal client is a living, breathing person. But let's go back to what I wrote about my perfect business, my rich life. 25 hours a week, Fridays off, 12 weeks a year. And I decided that if that was what my business would look like in the future, then I was going to start doing it right now. And I did. Because you hear all the time, if that's where you want to be, start acting as if. Well, I just took that as literal as you could be, and I went, okay, I'm going to figure out how to do this right now. And you can too. Ask any successful business owner who's been at it for more than 5 years what they do differently if they started a new business, and the majority of them will say, bring on a team way sooner. Every single time before you think you need it. And the first thing I had to address, like you will, was what were the things that only I could do, my unique ability. And those had to be my primary focus, my 80-20 things, the 20% of things that bring in 80% of the revenue. Where did I fit in that? And more importantly, where did I not? The second thing was, how could I make the most out of my time if I only had 25 hours a week? And that was an easy fix. Get rid of my sloppy planning. And thanks to one of my virtual coaches, Brooke Castillo of the Life Coach School, who has an amazing podcast episode on sloppy planning, that literally changed everything in my business. One of a handful of things that did. See, my biggest available resource was time. I had lots of it. No money, but tons of time, and I wasted it. I squandered it, threw it away recklessly. If I had a day open in my planner, and that happened a lot, then creating a podcast or a blog post would take me all day, maybe 2. Then another to get it all uploaded and published and the creative done. And most times it was late, not being released at the time and on the date I had it planned for. I was absolutely irresponsible with my time, like someone who had a massive trust fund that just spends at will. But I could never get my time back. I gradually shortened the time slot I gave myself to do a podcast from whatever it took to 3 hours. And shocker of shockers was that the quality of them actually increased as well. Because obviously the more you do, the better you get at it. You know, you want see the things that are working and the things that aren't working. And I started to find my own voice, to find me. They became more focused. If I gave myself 3 hours, I'd look up from writing the outline and the concept and all the pieces around 2 3/4 of an hour in, because I'd be doing the last paragraph and I'd be like, yeah, there we go. It's kind of the same as rehab therapists. They work in 15-minute blocks. You could set your watch by them. They don't have to look up anymore. They know they have 15 minutes. That's how long each treatment takes. Same with the back office pieces of the podcast. I built a system based on what worked for me and for what I should be doing versus what someone else could do. Being real here, I dragged my feet a bit on finding the right person as my head worked through some remaining money blocks that kept me from bringing on a podcast editor. Do I really need one? I'm perfectly capable of doing this. Do I need 2 people or just one? The US dollar conversion, oh my God, the exchange rate is so high compared to the Canadian dollar, it's killing me. What if I miss my deadlines? What will they do? Do I have to pay them? How can I be supportive of the countries I'm most passionate about? You guys know I love third world countries, the less developed countries. Ridiculous stuff. All stuff holding me back. Distractions, procrastination, all because of my fear of success. What if this all worked out for me? And I believe in my vision. I know it will. It's just it's like a mouthful of alligators along the way that you kind of have to dance through. My podcast is the #1 way that people find me organically. And it's a key pillar of my business and my path to my rich life. It's hard to have $1 million ideas. No. That's so not true. Let me rephrase that. It's easy to come up with $1 million ideas. It's harder to enroll the discipline and create and maintain systems to make your way to $1 million result. In my case, a $4,788,000 result. There is a trade-off in the work less, earn more model, and it is patience and expectations. If you struggle with money as a resource, then it will likely take you longer to get to your result. That is simply an expectation based on the reality of your financial situation today. And that could be very different a couple months down the road. It depends on what are the activities that you are working on. Spend more time on your money blocks, clearing those up and opening up your channels. I know, maybe a little bit too woo-woo for some of you, but it works. Ask anybody. I was a skeptic pre-2010, but I'm a perfect example of that transformation when you embrace everything you possibly can to break through what's holding you back from your potential. The joys of working less and earning more is that you have the bandwidth to adapt as your situation changes. You aren't stuck in your head, you haven't got your head stuck in the mud and you're just struggling just to try and breathe. Now, if money as a resource is more abundant in your world, and you're doing some focused work on your thinking in relation to abundance, manifestation, scarcity, and seeing results, then it may be realistic to expect a faster result. Certainly faster than if you tried to do it all yourself, right? You got that now, right? Either way, if you believe in what you are doing and you are committed to getting rid of your sloppy planning, getting some systems in place, starting to curate a team, then your increased earnings, no matter what number that is for you, are close by. They really are. They're just waiting for you to open the right door. Start small, like few extra $1,000 or a few thousand extra a month. Celebrate each one, each step, each increase. Be grateful for every new dollar that comes into your business. Learn from my mistakes. Don't try to copy the people, even when you have a deep, deep business background in all industries. Don't try to copy the people who've been at it for 10 plus years, even if you understand it all. That was one of my fail points. Pick one thing that they do in their business, not what they sell or their service. I'm talking about one piece of their website or their social media or their marketing or their platform, and do it to the very best of your ability, to your ability and your team's ability. And I want, excuse me for a second. Passionate talk uses up the moisture in your mouth. Become a master of it. The go-to expert on the thing. Be you. That's all I'm saying is be you. Leave the fancy website, the ridiculous 20-step funnels with multiple tripwires and landing pages, 6 different lead magnets, being on all the socials. Yes, it's perfectly fine to be on just 1 or 2 of them. The big launches, the Jeff Walker PLF stuff. And yes, all the courses that claim that you must have them to succeed. Business cards, ultimate logo, perfect colors, fonts, perfect pictures, the perfect pricing. Those are all, every single one of them, distractions. They are not essential keys for success. They are keeping you from doing the thing that you do best. They are keeping you from reaching the person or the people who need what you have right now. They are actively looking for what you have. Cliché, but true. The only thing that is important right now is finding a customer and having them push that button that says, yes, I want to buy something from you. Revenue comes from that transaction. Can you see all that other stuff? It's just pulling you off that path. And I know I'm giving you a lot today. This is like a masterclass in starting a business and growing a successful business. But I want you to start today, and I want you to write down what your perfect business looks like and what your rich life looks like, and start living that way tomorrow. If you remember my story, you'll know that I literally had to wait over 20 plus years for technology to catch up so that I could start building my perfect business. What we take for granted today, 25 years ago, was impossible. So, we're here. We're at the end, and it's time for the question I ask everyone at the end of each episode. And I want you to take your time, give it some thought. What is the worst thing that could happen if you unlock just one of your shackles today? What is one thing that you think is holding you back? I'd love to connect with you and hear your stories and help you out where I can. So don't forget to leave a comment or shoot me a DM. And yes, you can absolutely email me. I know some people find it more comfortable to just email. support@momentsforexcellence.com. Just reach out. And yes, it's me reading each and every one of them and responding. Hey guys, if you found this podcast helpful and think it could help someone else, please send them the link. It's in the show notes, and then drop a review in wherever you're listening. And then come on back and hang with us some more. Let us help you keep moving forward. We're simple to find on the interwebs. MS Debbie Colburn, that's MS Debbie with an IE, Colburn with an OUR squished between the B and the N, on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and yes, on our website. See y'all next episode.